When I first got into trading, one of the things that I think held me back more than anything else was that I thought every trade was supposed to get the same position size, the same amount of risk. I didn't understand that not every trade is the same. Each trade is different. Some have high probabilities, some have lower probabilities. So without a system of like grading those trades, even just A, B, or C, putting the same risk on every trade is going to really lead you down a hole of losses, in my opinion. That's what I think, like I said, held me back, and I see it holding other traders back as well. So this recap today, I'm going to talk about EuroCAD, my position here. You can see I was short this morning. I made a little bit of money. I could have made a lot more. And I want to take time in this recap to highlight what I could have done better with you so that I can make better trading decisions going forward, and so can you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Austin Silver. I appreciate you being here. If this video brings you value, if you do make better trading decisions going forward, just do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I don't want you to miss the future conversations and podcasts and trade recaps that I put out, and the thumbs up helps the YouTube algorithm. So you can see the P&L here. This was my one position this morning at 152.89.7. My best exit had me out about 7 pips lower at 152.82.4. I got stopped in profit with the piece of the trade that I still had in. As you can see, entry at 89.7, stop in profit underneath that at 89.1. I only took about 7 pips out of this trade, not a big winner. I graded it a C. With my C setups, I lock my stop loss in profit once I reach 1R. So my stop loss here was 7 pips. Once I was up over 7, I started to take my trade out, started to piece my way out of the trade, and my stop loss was locked, which is where I got tapped out here. That is the way that I manage all of my C setups. The reason it was graded a C, I'm going to show you the chart in a minute. The reason it was graded a C was just because of the things that were wrong with it. We call them knocks in our system and in our group. There were so many knocks with this trade that I just had to grade it a C. I couldn't give it an A or a B. With that C setup, that gives you the position size predetermined based on my risk profile. And like I just said, the way that I manage these trades every time I see a C setup. Now, let's flip you over so you can see. This was where I took my position this morning. Short off the 50 EMA as the 8 and 21 EMAs crossed. In this 15-minute bar, I was able to go to the 1 minute and find risk reward using the divergence, using something similar to a D1 entry as it retested the 50 EMA. With that tight 7 pip stop loss, I liked this to move lower from my entry down towards low of day. If it would have moved that low, that would have been about 3R, 2.75R. That's a good risk reward setup for any ASFX entry. I'm normally looking for just 2 to 1. So anything over 2 to 1, I'm on board with. So now you see the good things about this trade. Let's get to the knocks. The first thing is we're still trading inside the Asian range. You can see the pin low set here and the pin high set here. Those horizontal lines show the Asian trading session, the Asian range, the first 8 hours of the day. We don't break out of that Asian range with a body. If we break with a body, then I would qualify this as out of the Asian range. These pins right here, they don't count. So this is still in the Asian range. Now, what does that tell us? Why is that important, Austin? Why is that a parameter in the system? Because if we're trading in the Asian range, that's one sign that the pair might have already made its move for the day in the Asian session, and we might see it move more sideways than anything else the rest of the day. So we want to see things that are normally moving and breaking out of the Asian range to show us volume and volatility and trend. Here, I'm trading inside the Asian range only because of 2 things. 1, I can still get good risk reward at least to low of day. And 2, the higher time frames were clearly short biased. So let me switch over to this side here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. You already saw the 1 minute, so we can erase this. Let's go to the 1 hour first. I'll show you here. Look at the TDI falling over under the 50 value. Look at the EMAs, all short biased. Price action holding underneath the 21 and the 8 EMA. 8 EMAs has crossed down under the 21 the day before. So in a perfect downtrend today, clearly telling you to look for shorts. 4 hour, same positioning on the TDI and the EMAs. And on the daily, same thing as well here. So everything was short biased on the higher time frames, which allowed me to still, be open-minded to the idea of trading in the Asian range because the direction that I needed to be trading was so clear. Now, if that makes sense, Comment down below, yes, just so I understand that you're following me so far in this video. With that risk reward setup, let me move this here. My stop was a little lower, 7 pips. With this risk reward setup, only moving about 1.5 R, you can see where I ended up taking some profit down here. We found support to yesterday's low and bounced back towards my entry, stopping me out in profit with this bar. Now, that's the first trade. That's the P&L that I already showed you. That was the first position that I took. The bias does not change, which means the direction that I want to trade does not change as the day goes on unless the market develops that way. Instead of it turning up and moving against me, it actually comes back down. And it sets up an A1 formation on the 15-minute and on the 1-minute. This is what we teach in our beginner course. This is like the bread and butter ASFX system. These have different candle formations, and that's what I teach in the course. So this is just one of many. But this A1 risk reward setup showed you about a 10 pip stop loss. But to the low of day, we could only get about 1.3, maybe 1.5 R, depending on exactly where you put your stop, right? Either way, if I'm still keeping that original idea that I had from here, trading towards the low of day, in this scenario, we're not going to assume that it can break the Asian range because I don't have that in my testing yet. This is going to be one of the markups that goes towards this. But in my back testing, I can't assume that it's going to break the Asian session. Why? Well, first, we're trading in the range, which tells us that it might have already made its move here during the Asian session, number one. Number two, we technically, if you blow this up, I saw this. You'll have to comment below and tell me if I'm stretching it. I saw this as rising. So if that's rising and that's falling, that's technically bullish divergence, which told me there was a lot of support down here and that it might not break past this previous pin. So at least reading risk reward to there, that's where I'm anticipating, hopefully at minimum it would go to. But because I couldn't get 2-to-1 at least, I didn't take this trade. I didn't jump back in short. So look at my notes here. And I said I should have been more focused on the higher time frames. Instead, I was emotional, really, I'm being honest, because I was thinking to myself, why would I put the money I just made, even though it was small money, why put that money back at risk on another position when I already graded this a C setup for the day? So this peels back to what I could have done better. In reality, the reason I gave it a C setup was because of the TDI rising. But objectively speaking, it is still in the sell zone, which we would consider a perfect TDI. That rising could definitely be more. It could definitely be steeper. So for me to qualify that as a knock and then size from a B to a C because of that and the fact that we're in the Asian range, that I think threw off my ability to jump back in this trade. If I had graded the first trade a B, I would have been more willing to grade this, maybe a C even, and take this and just say, hey, I'm going to try to trade it for 1.5 R and see if I can get that. Wouldn't you know, it falls about 3 R pretty quickly and then pulls all the way back up to that same low of day support level. You can see that pin right here. So in this scenario, if I would have taken this trade when it's down 3R, I'm taking profit at 3R, at 2R, and I'm locking my stop. So I probably would have been stopped out even when this pullback happened. And that would have been my second trade of the day. As the move continues into the afternoon, there's just nothing I can do here. This is not an A1 formation. It hits oversold, it maxes out ADR, and now it's been sideways ever since. I can't catch all of every move, and I've accepted that a long time ago. I think that's one of the things that's allowed me to last this long in this business. But what I could have done better today was to be willing to take this second trade and not be scared to lose the profits that I just made. Because again, I got to pull myself away from the money and say, really, again, objectively, is this a trade that fits the system? Regardless of what happened in the past, if this entry fits the system, I need to be involved in it. And it did. The risk reward wasn't great, but other than that and it being in the Asian range, like I said, this rising TDI was honestly just me overanalyzing. It was bullshit. I didn't need to be that critical because it's been worse and I've traded it. So I really should have kept the higher time frame bias in mind and I could have made more money today. Now, I'm happy. I'm grateful for my ability to trade every day and for the ability to learn and get better and grow. And I'm grateful for the win today, but I still kind of beat myself up, to be honest, and I wanted to save this for the end. You guys know I normally don't make videos twice. I normally film it, edit it, post it, because I want you guys to see the rawness. But honestly, after I saw this move lower, because I filmed the video earlier today, I was like, nah, I need to post a video that reflects how I actually feel about the trade now at the end of the day, not mid-moment. And in the moment, I was like, no, I don't want to take that because the risk reward wasn't good enough to low of day. But it's like, bro, on the higher time frames, everything was telling you this is moving lower. Ride the trend. Look at GBP CHF. If I switch to this really quick, if you guys remember, I was in this trade at look, I still have it marked up here. No, actually, that isn't it. I was actually in this lower. Last Wednesday, so what date would that be? Right here, the 17th. I was in this trade here at 124.13. If you go to where it is now, today, the trend has continued 482 pips, almost 4% since I was buying it. And every day there's been long opportunities on multiple time frames in multiple sessions. The reason I'm bringing this back up is just because I'm saying some of these trades are going to ride the trend. You're going to be able to take advantage of that trend. And when the entries present that follow that trend, you got to be ready to act. And today I just wasn't on that second entry. I was scared to give back my profits. And I'm going to document this. I put it in my trading journal. That was what inspired me to do the second take. And I'm going to try my best to be better tomorrow. So if that's what you're going to do, and you're on this mission with me to continue to grow and be a better trader every day, do me a favor, comment that you watched all the way through so I know that you sat here with me. I appreciate you very much always. And if there's any questions that you have about this trade, if there's anything that I could make more clear about the EuroCAD ideas today on both entries and what I could have done better, if there's anything that I can do to clarify, just email me, DM me. I'm always here to help you guys in any way that I can. I hope that me admitting what I could do better helps you make better decisions and also motivates you to just take accountability for your losses and your flaws and your screw-ups and your misses and your could have done betters, because we all can do better. Have some humility. Be a human being. You're not perfect. Like, this idea that we have to be perfect because we're traders is just stupid. Different topic for a different video. Again, I appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next trade recap.